Welcome back, everyone, to another Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly massive paradigm shift in the world of software testing. I mean, if you've been working with browser automation, you already know the drill. But today, we're looking at how Playwright has completely evolved from a traditional procedural scripting library into a fully AI-enabled testing stack. We're talking about a real game changer here. We're moving away from that era of manual, line-by-line script maintenance and stepping straight into the future of intent-driven verification. And it's going to be a fun one.
So I want you to start by asking yourself this. What if UI updates didn't permanently break your test suite? Seriously, we have all been there. A developer tweaks a button class just a little bit, or some visual styling gets updated, and suddenly, boom, your entire CI/CD pipeline runs red. You end up spending hours doing manual triage just to fix a single flaky CSS locator. But what if the automation stack was smart enough to simply heal itself and, actually understand your underlying intent? Well, that's exactly what we're exploring today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the evolution of Playwright automation, meeting the native agents, why those native agents win, entering Playwright MCP, the efficiency of MCP, and finally, native agents versus MCP. Let's get right to it.
Starting off with Section 1, the evolution of Playwright automation, from procedural scripts to AI-enabled verification. We are officially transitioning from maintaining those brittle, procedural scripts to intent-driven verification where the system actually figures out the how. Which brings us to Section 2, meet the native agents, or as I like to call them, the autonomous construction crew. Setting up end-to-end automation is incredibly easy now. Playwright actually includes built-in native test agents right out of the box. You just initialize them in your repository using a single Playwright CLI command and then configure them for your preferred AI editor environment, whether that happens to be Claude Code, Codex, or OpenCode. And the way these agents work together is seamless. It's a continuous chained workflow. It's basically a three-step process. Step 1 is the planner. You give it a high-level goal, something like generate a checkout flow plan, and it explores your running application to output a structured, human-readable Markdown test plan. Step 2 is the generator. It takes that Markdown and turns it into executable TypeScript tests. But here's the magic. It's not just guessing. It validates selectors and assertions live against a running browser session as it generates the script. And then Step 3, we have the healer. If a test suite fails because of a UI change, the healer automatically replays the steps, inspects the new UI state, and literally patches the broken code for you.
Moving into Section 3, why native agents win, eliminating automation bottlenecks. These agents essentially cure the two biggest headaches in automation, that tedious initial test authoring phase and the constant, painful maintenance of flaky locators.
Consider the stark contrast between the old way and the new way. On one hand, we have the fragile past. Procedural code meant engineers had to do manual DOM inspection, writing these really brittle CSS selectors like div.checkout-btn-v3, and manually managing async waits. It was exhausting. On the other hand, we have the resilient future, intent-driven authoring. Instead of fragile CSS, Playwright's native agents interact with the application through its accessibility tree. They look for semantic attributes, like role, button, and name, checkout. And the best part? These attributes stay completely stable even if the visual styling or the underlying DOM structure gets totally overhauled.
What you should really take away from this is how it fundamentally changes your daily workflow. Front-end changes no longer permanently break your pipeline. The healer agent acts autonomously. It diagnoses whether a failure is a genuine product bug or just a harmless selector change. If a locator changed, it patches the .spec.ts file automatically. This literally eliminates hours of manual triage after everyday UI updates. It's a massive time saver.
All right, let's pivot a bit to Section 4. Enter Playwright MCP, the live universal remote. If native agents are your autonomous construction crew building permanent test files, Playwright MCP is your interactive assistant for ad hoc automation.
So what exactly is Playwright MCP? Well, MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. The Playwright MCP package is a standardized protocol server. It's incredibly easy to set up. You just pop it into your editor's configuration with standard JSON, and it instantly exposes Playwright's live browser automation capabilities to any MCP-compliant AI client. We're talking about tools like Cursor, Windsurf, or Claude Desktop. Basically, this means your favorite AI assistant can now directly interact with the browser conversationally.
Now, what's really interesting here is the incredible depth of deterministic control MCP gives to your AI.
First up, it uses structured accessibility snapshots. Rather than dumping raw, messy HTML into the prompt, it tags interactive elements with short, simple reference IDs, like E5. Second, it provides direct interaction tools. The AI can navigate, click those short IDs, fill out forms, capture screenshots, and handle dialogues. And third, it has network and state control. The AI can actually inspect your console logs, mock API routes, and even preserve authentication cookies across sessions. It's the whole shebang. Section 5. The efficiency of MCP, turning natural language into browser actions. This technology turns natural language directly into deterministic browser actions, making exploratory testing and interactive debugging absolutely effortless and highly cost-effective.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this massive drop in token consumption. We're talking just 200 to 400 tokens per interaction. To put that into perspective, in the past, sending raw HTML DOMs to an LLM wasted thousands upon thousands of tokens per step. It cost you money and degraded performance. But by converting the browser page into a concise accessibility snapshot, Playwright MCP operates on a drastically smaller token footprint.
And because it's so efficient, we get zero vision model overhead. The AI doesn't need to look at screen pixel coordinates to figure out where a button is. It just relies on those semantic reference IDs we mentioned earlier. This means you do not need expensive multimodal vision models for standard web workflows. The agent loops are significantly cheaper, remarkably faster, and vastly less prone to AI hallucination.
Section 6. Native Agents versus MCP. Choosing the right tool for the job. We've explored these two incredible paths. Now let's do a side-by-side comparison so you know exactly which strategy to execute.
Bringing this all into a comprehensive framework, we can clearly compare when to use each tool. If your primary objective is discovering and writing permanent test suites, you want native agents. If you need real-time interactive automation, you want the MCP server. The core workflow for agents is that incredible planner to generator to healer pipeline. For MCP, it's a live tool call loop where the AI takes an action and immediately gets a snapshot back. The output for agents is actual code, markdown, and TypeScript files. The output for MCP is live actions, scraped data, or screenshots. The locator strategy for agents uses stable accessibility-based TypeScript locators, while MCP relies on those dynamic short reference IDs for speed. So ultimately, use native agents for automated QA and self-healing CI/CD regressions, and use MCP for ad hoc testing, exploratory automation, and powering your AI coding assistants.
So I'll leave you with this final thought today. Are you ready to let AI build, heal, and drive your browser automation? The days of manual DOM inspection and endlessly fixing brittle CSS locators are totally behind us. Whether you implement the native agents to lock down your CI/CD pipeline or fire up the MCP server to interactively debug your web apps using natural language, the tools are right at your fingertips. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I highly encourage you to initialize these tools in your own Playwright repositories today. Keep learning and keep building.